Hey guys, thanks for going on this nerd journey with me. If you want your episodes ad-free, go to makemeanerd.com/join and hit that button.
Hooked on you, baby, you're golden. Time moves, I never noticed. Just can't get enough. Got me wonderstruck.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Make Me a Nerd. Oh, I should be doing this in a more mysterious voice this time. Welcome to Make Me a Nerd. I'm Mandy Kaplan, a mainstream mom whose mission it is to explore the world of nerd culture that I've been missing out on and afraid of my whole life. If you're new to the show, welcome. Here's my deal. I truly have avoided sci-fi and fantasy, and all my friends and family and colleagues love it. So one person and one entity at a time, they're coming on to get me to be nerdy about the thing they love. And this guest, she is a member of the True Story family, so we have circled each other a little bit. In other words, I stalked her, and she agreed. So I'm very, very excited to have Chelsea Stardust on my show, and I want to tell you guys a little bit about her. Oh, but first, I had promised that I would read Apple reviews if people wrote them, so I want to read a new Apple review from Pear is Texas. Oh, I guess that's Paris, Texas. I get it. But it's spelled Pear is Texas. Anywho, they say a podcast is generally a place where a self-proclaimed expert speaks down to their listeners, inviting the audience to come and gaze upon their glory. Mandy Kaplan takes a better, higher path, the one of humility. She lays her lack of experience out for all to see and offers a different experience for listeners, a chance to learn and grow together. That Mandy is also a person with great charisma and a wonderful personality is an added bonus to the journey. Thank you, Paris, Texas. That is so kind of you. And yeah, I mean, I'm usually a big fat know-it-all when it comes to the housewives or fantasy football. But when it comes to sci-fi and fantasy, I need nerds to come nerducate me. And this nerd, you guys, Chelsea Stardust made her directorial debut with the science fiction thriller All That We Destroy, which is part of the Blumhouse series Into the Dark. Major, major words I'm saying here. Her second feature film, horror comedy Satanic Panic, was written by novelist Grady Hendrix, My Best Friend's Exorcism, the Final Girl Support Group, and the one I read that we can talk about the Southern Book Club vampire killers. I know I mentioned it on my episode about Twilight. Chelsea also produced and co-directed the feature film Grind, created by Bray Grant and Ed Doherty, which had its world premiere at South by Southwest in 2026. That is so exciting. Chelsea also produced a commercial for the popular brand Loungefly, which is owned by Funko. She directed the music video Blood Bather for the indie rock band Cursive. She is a published writer, and her work has been featured in several books and online publications. Last but not least, she is the co-host of the podcast Sitting in the Dark with friend of my show and friend of my life, Tommy Metz III. Oh my God, she's so accomplished. I don't know why she agreed to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea Stardust.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh my God, what an intro.
Well, how do you do all of this? I mean, so much of this is, I've made a feature film. It takes over your whole life for years.
Yes, it is a lot. I'm just always working, always doing something. Being a multi-hyphenate is key. So director, writer, producer, doing podcasts. I have a book club. I have a board game group. I'm just always very busy with very nerdy things.
Yes, which I love. Now, can we talk about Grady Hendrix for a moment?
Yeah.
I'm so impressed that was a partnership because I found that book in a bookstore and I read it not really knowing it was very zeitgeist. It's a man, Grady Hendrix?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Very, very popular. He's really got his finger on the pulse of what's selling. Vampires, book clubs, and all of these things. How did that partnership come to be?
Yeah, so he wrote the script for Satanic Panic, not based on one of his books. It is original from him as a screenplay, and I had the opportunity to direct it. But I remember when I first read the script, I had a couple of notes, and I was really scared to give them to him because I was such a fan
Yes.
of his writing. How do you give a novelist like Grady Hendrix notes? I did give them to him, and he was so gracious and executed them for me.
Oh,
I loved collaborating with him. He was so wonderful. He got to come to set when we first started shooting. We had dinner together. We did a table read together, and since then have remained friends. And I've been lucky enough to have him as a guest on at my book club and here in Los Angeles. And so he's just so wonderful and so smart. And if you ever get a chance to see him speak live in person, you must go. He does that sometimes at film festivals. You have to see it because he's just watching Grady is just incredible.
very cool. So cool. And where can people see Satanic Panic? That's streaming, right?
Yeah. My first movie, All That We Destroy, is on Hulu,
Oh.
and then Satanic Panic you can rent anywhere.
Great.
Should be on Apple and all of those
Great,
platforms.
great. Everybody go do that. Okay. So I reached out as I always do, and I say, what are you passionate about? What would you like to nerducate me about? And you pretty quickly said X-Files. And this was a hot commodity, Chelsea. Others have asked. So
Oh my goodness.
I'm excited to do it with you. And then you sent me some highlight episodes to
So
watch.
many. I sent you so many. I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. That's passion, right? But first, I
Yes.
always watch a pilot. And
Mhm.
I am like this freakish 50-plus-year-old woman who's never seen anything of the X-Files. So I was coming at it like a newborn baby. So here is the summary of the pilot. Nope, it's just a summary of the series, I guess. I didn't write the summary of the pilot because I'm smart. But it does say it's based on true stories right at the top.
Mhm. Yes.
It's not really the case, though.
It's squishy.
It's a bit of James Fry. So Chris Carter, the creator, researched urban legends, folklore, and government conspiracy theories and real-life scientific phenomena to inspire some stories. But it's not based on true stories.
Depends on who you ask.
For real? Discuss.
Well, I think it's taking a lot of things we talk about in pop culture, but just stories that are passed down. I think looking into obviously Roswell, I think he's doing a deep dive into things and pulling these different threads. And so, people saying, oh, some people thought for the longest time Bigfoot is real. I just saw a documentary, Bigfoot is not real. I'm so sorry. But I think he's just pulling from all of these things that a lot of people have heard of, some stories people haven't heard of. And so I think just taking like general folklore and UFOs, the whole thing with the credits is the truth is out there and I
Right.
want to believe. And, so I think he just wants to, have the audience connect with these stories through these great protagonists that we have.
Right. Although none of the episodes you chose for me had anything to do with aliens, which is what I thought X-Files was about.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Except for like kind of the pilot. The pilot is that.
Yes. A good point. The pilot, they are called to a small town in the Pacific Northwest. My first thought is vampires, aliens, like what's up with the Pacific Northwest? Because coming off that Twilight episode, I was like, what? I would not move up there. I would just. I mean, it's better than Florida, for the love of Christ. But yeah, I just they go up to investigate this mysterious kids are disappearing, or they're adults, but they're all in the same graduating class. And the in the cold open, I think, ends with like the local sheriff saying, is it the class of 89? Is it happening again? And I got chills just right away. Such a great setup. And Mulder and Scully weren't in it yet, I don't think. This was just showing us the small town.
So I think what's so great about the pilot is it's one of the best pilots I think ever. I know it's taught in screenwriting courses about
Ooh.
television because it's laying out, there's so much in this pilot. And this is, without commercials, each X-Files episode is like, I believe 42 to 45, 46 minutes. And so this is really laying out so much information to the audience. It is giving you it's living up to the name, your first dose of, is it or isn't it, extraterrestrial lore, while also introducing you to these characters, kind of planting the seeds. This episode, the pilot plants seeds for things that are going to happen in future episodes and future seasons. And it's the first time we get a glimpse of the cigarette smoking man, who becomes a very prevalent character. So this is really setting you up for so much. I rewatched this recently since I was coming on. I rewatched all the episodes. And I was kind of blown away. I think the pilot a lot of people talk about it, but doesn't get enough credit with how much information they pack in and giving you their dynamics, Mulder and Scully, who eventually have a romantic relationship.
That was
and
a
have
question
child.
coming up.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
They have a child?
Spoiler alert. Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't. I always heard it was a will they won't they thing. I didn't realize it was a oh they will.
Like, so it's really just setting you up for this. And of course, she's hard science, where he wants to believe. He just wants to, really acknowledge the idea that this is out there, and I'm going to do everything I can to prove it. They plant the seeds of his sister, Samantha, who was, abducted. And so, he's trying to solve that plan. That goes throughout the whole series, that mystery. And so, or she disappeared, and he talks about like what he, so just that one scene talks about that. So when I rewatched it, I too took copious notes about it, and I could not believe how much they packed in it. So it's such a good, obviously I know you're always watching the pilots for shows you're talking about, because you hope that they lay the groundwork. And I think this show does it so well.
I think it does it seamlessly. I never felt like, I get it. I understand you're the tough boss guy. You are just dropped into this world, and the way they welcome you in, never did I feel exposition or, obvious introduction of concept or character. It was like,
yes,
we were just dropped in and welcomed in.
Yeah.
And the two actors are just so damn charming that you root for them, even when he's a little smarmy, or he's not smarmy, but he's got some issues.
Yeah, he's got some sass. Yeah,
he says some inappropriate things, and
he does.
You don't care. You just love him. You love both of them. So I was completely taken in. The pilot does work on structural level, character level. It was intriguing, and I love the tone. They're seeing horrifying things and evidence of violence or heartbreak. And then the dialogue is really zippy and punchy and fun. And that's my speed, Yeah. It doesn't lean. I can't do Law and Order SVU. It's like, it's too heavy. And this is like, you're seeing similar crime scenes, but they're joking. And I like that.
There's levity to it. And I think because you're also, not everyone can watch things in the sci-fi horror genre. And I think in order to really appeal to a mass audience, I think making the tone, having that levity, and you have to have great lead characters, and Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny. Obviously, this is what everyone knows them for. And they're just so iconic. Even to this day, you see X-Files merch, and Mulder, it's me, is like a very common thing you'll see, because that's what she always says when she calls him. But I just think that, this, oh my God, this show is just so special to me. But this, like, getting to talk about it was very exciting to me. One of the reasons I picked it, when I haven't talked about it on any platform ever. And it's inspired me to be a director. There's so many things about this show. And it was such a delight to go back and just revisit a couple of these episodes that now I want to watch the whole season again, the whole series again.
Yeah.
Big undertaking.
But that's what it should be. That's,
Yeah.
when we love something, it should feel like that. And I felt a little emotion in your voice, and I love that.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just, oh, it was a really great show.
Yeah.
It means something. And this was a perfect pilot. And I'm hypercritical, and I come to this with my sensibility, and looking for discussion points sometimes means I criticize things just so I can simply play devil's advocate and challenge my nerds on, like, well, that's not very realistic and that bothers me, just to get conversation going. But there's not a negative to this pilot.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of the episodes are pure garbage, but I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, all you X-File lovers. I'm kidding. Yeah, so I loved it. I loved the score. There was a real jazzy piano score. It reminded me of David Grusin's The Firm. I don't know if you're familiar with that film, but I didn't expect that score on, a TV detective show about aliens. It's elevated.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark Snow is really doing the work and created the theme song, which obviously you didn't see in the pilot because it didn't come. They didn't have that yet, the credits. And it's throughout the whole show. That is one of the most iconic theme songs too, that people still to this day, you immediately know what it is, which I love.
Fun fact after this. So the theme song was created, Mark Snow created the echo effect on his famous theme by accident. Do you know this?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
My friend Google. Yeah. He had gone through several revisions, but Chris Carter felt that something wasn't quite right. Carter walked out of the room, and Snow put his hand and forearm on his keyboard in frustration. Snow said that this sound was in the keyboard, and that was it. So it reminds me of on Sesame Street, the guy who couldn't finish Mary Had a Little Lamb, and he would bang his head on the piano.
Yeah.
I have very topical, sexy references, Chelsea. You'll learn this about me.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
The theme song is just next level. That's why I looked it up, because it's so memorable. It's so perfect, simple, not too much. And did it change at all in the 10 years of the series?
No.
Good.
It changed and again, for anyone who's never seen an episode of the X-Files, I'm so sorry that I really spoiled some big things, but if you really think about it, you're like, okay, those make sense. The only time it did change was, so depending on how much you read about the series, because of a bunch of some legal things, Mulder or David Duchovny started to take a step back in the later seasons. So I think it's halfway through season 8. It had to do with contract disputes and a lawsuit with Fox over residuals. And also he wanted to do other projects. So he takes a step back, and then he's fully out of it, I think, by season 9? Well, yeah. So basically, 2 other detectives come in with Dana Scully, with Gillian Anderson, which is Robert Patrick and Annabeth Gish. And they finish.
I like both those actors.
They're great. But once he was gone, he pops up here and there, but once he was gone, it took a big, and so the credits did change to accommodate the new cast, but it really was not the same. I did watch the show all the way through. And then of course it came up again, in 2016. They did a couple more episodes. They did a couple more seasons of it. They brought it back. And I kept watching it because I loved it so much, but it's not the same show, unfortunately. But that's the only time the credits, to my knowledge, changed. But I will say that the truth is out there that you see in the credits. I realized all the episodes I picked, they all say the truth is out there, but there are a couple episodes that changes.
Oh.
So I realized, I said, oh shoot, all the ones I picked, that stays the same, which is fine. But should you go down the path to watch more, there are a couple choice episodes where what that tagline is different.
Oh, interesting.
Which is very fun.
Yeah, it would probably give me chills to, because you expect it, and
You
that's,
expect it.
Um, very cool. Well, you chose Squeeze, Season 1, Episode 3, Mulder and Scully search for a humanoid killer whose savage murder spree reoccurs every 30 years. This one features, at the time, not a creep, Doug Hutchison.
Mm-hmm.
And now he was in The Green Mile. He worked a
Yes.
lot. He's, I assume, a great character actor. But I know him because he married an 18-year-old or a 16-year-old, right? Her name was
Mm-hmm.
Courtney. And he was all over Entertainment Tonight for years because it was so inappropriate, bordering on illegal, scandalous. It was so odd. They have since divorced. But when immediately I saw him, and here he is young way before then. And I was like, oh, that's the creep that married the kid. And oh, I know him. So they're getting extra creep points on that casting.
Extra. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to also talk about real quick why I picked these episodes.
Please.
So it was, when I wanted to, like, thinking about what I wanted to choose and getting to talk about the X-Files, which I actually probably didn't start watching until the 7th, like watching live, maybe the 7th season, because, I was pretty young when I came onto it kind of late because I was young, like when this one is 93. I was in 3rd grade, so I definitely wouldn't have been allowed to watch this.
Okay.
But one of my best friends since kindergarten to this day, Christina, she was a big X-Files fan, and so she kind of got me on board watching. I think it was on Fox on Sunday nights. I'm pretty sure at like 10 o'clock. And so when I was old enough, I think it was like maybe 8th grade, my parents were like, yeah, of course, you can watch the X-Files. It's fine. And I fell in love. And so what I would do is we'd watch it. And then the next day at school, Christine and I would get together and let's talk about the X-Files and what we just watched. And I just fell in love with the show so hard. It was, again, like I said, I'm a big horror girly and sci-fi and thriller, all of that, all the genre stuff. But this has such great, masterful writing, great directing. And of course, it's about the other, which is something I very much identify with and connect with. And but to have these two iconic protagonists that I use thinking about my own work of wanting to make sure you have these great, also flawed lead characters. So all that to say, when I was thinking about what I wanted to show you as your way into the X-Files, because I apologize to all the X-Files fans out there. This is a short list. We couldn't do all the bangers because there are so many.
Of course.
But
10 seasons.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Plus 2 movies. And I wanted to, a lot of the ones I picked are, they sort of are the iconic like monster of the week.
Yes.
Or, featuring, written by Vince Gilligan,
Yes.
who obviously went on to do Breaking Bad.
Yes.
Sort of a couple iconic ones, and then one that I think is kind of sweet, and then one that my husband has a connection with one of the actors too, that is also a very poignant story too. And so I understand I didn't pick a lot of like alien forward ones.
Sure.
Because
That's okay.
a lot of those ones are part of like the bigger mythology.
No,
and so
I was able to drop in and immediately
you could drop
Monster of
into
the Week.
all these episodes. That's sort of what, and then I wanted to think of the iconic ones that your listeners would know and immediately recognize, and that are accessible to people too. And some of them are very scary. So I think they're creepy.
Thank you for putting all of that work and thought into it. I do appreciate it because I think you curated a wonderful sampling.
Good.
This one is creepy as hell. And they actually use a device in the beginning, towards the beginning of the episode, where she's doing voiceover as she's typing up her notes. And it was very Carrie Bradshaw. And I thought, well, yeah, this is the 90s. I'm sure they thought, oh, let's get in on that. It just seemed very of the time. And then one thought I had, which is so shallow, but when they're in an active situation, she's in fucking heels.
Oh, yeah.
and like a pencil skirt most of the time. And
Mhm.
it's such a disadvantage that women have in all walks of life. But as detectives, why is she not in? Does she ever in the later seasons get a sensible pair of slacks and running shoes?
Slacks, yes. I don't know. I think the FBI, I mean, when you think about like when Clarice goes to visit Hannibal
Right.
Lecter, like you start like the
Same
FBI
thing.
making, what are they doing? Like,
What are
make
they
us
doing?
comfortable.
And
I'm like,
and you must
come
have
on.
that bob apparently.
Yeah, yes, you have to have the haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I also love that this episode, basically it's 3 years after It. So, obviously, when you gave the synopsis, they talk about every 30 years, which is obviously with, like, Pennywise is very
Okay.
similar.
Okay.
And Toombs has that. I'm getting ahead of the synopsis, I shouldn't get too ahead of
No,
it, but has the nest
we're
because
all
he's
over the
gonna
place.
hibernate.
Everyone's seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna hibernate, and I was like, "This is so Pennywise," and I hadn't seen, I don't know if I'd seen it when I saw it. I never made the connection until now, with, I thought, "Oh, man, someone," uh and also this episode is Glenn Morgan and James Wong, who went on to do a Final Destination. They went on to do, Final Destination movies. They went on to do Black Xmas,
Okay.
um, which a lot of cast from X-Files is in. Um, Great writers. They write throughout the series, um, and also great at creating these really disturbing characters. But I love the It correlation with this, which I had never thought about before. And they even refer to it as It. And I thought, I think Glenn and James must have read It when they must have been thinking about It when they did this
Well, I
episode.
have not, so I didn't make the correlation, but they are not afraid to wink at like if in a future episode they actually say like I've seen this movie before in one of the
Yeah,
episodes, right? They're not afraid to say, "We get it, people. We're borrowing here and we're proud of it," which I like.
yeah,
It's part
I
of
do
their
too.
tone. Um, when he's possessed, Toombs, Doug Hutchison, squishes into an air duct, and the sound effects are like his bones crunching. Ah, so
So
well
good.
done. And then that was a part of the show that it occurred to me how much time they will let a moment take. They will let you sit on the edge of your seat
Mhm.
and feel nervous and scared and tense for a long time. And I feel like today's TV, they would be like, hit him with the action right away.
Yeah,
They,
absolutely.
yeah, it's really great storytelling. I prefer the, oh God, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it
Yeah,
anymore. What's going to happen? And it goes on and on. And that lasted throughout all the episodes you picked for me. I had that
yeah.
feeling.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This aside from their haircuts, she has a French twist. And I'm just gonna say it this one time and then I'm gonna drop it. The lack of diversity, because that does
Oh,
bump
yes.
for me. Um, the show doesn't feel dated. It feels like it could have been made. I mean, I know that the quality of film is a little different than it is now, but it doesn't feel dated. And then we saw her bathroom and I was like, "Oh, hold up."
There it is. There it is.
There it is. Her bathroom feels like it's an 80s condo in Florida somehow.
Yeah.
Do you remember it? Like the pink
Oh,
tile
yes.
and the
Oh, yes.
mm.
It's rough.
But it just holds up really well.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed that it's timeless, and I wonder if do you know if people are getting into it now, like kids, teens, at the same age you were, 8th grade, finally, like, "I'm old enough to watch X-Files." Is there a new generation of fans?
Well, I think yes, and also because when I was watching this, you would have to, like, seek out the DVDs. Obviously, there wasn't streaming
Mhm,
if you weren't watching it live, and now it's on Hulu, but you can get it on Pluto TV,
mhm,
so it's accessible because that's free,
mhm.
and sort of like a lot of, the younger generation, they watch a lot of Tubi, again, free, and so I think now that it is very accessible, a lot more people are discovering it, and it also is connecting to, we have Disclosure Day coming up, that movie, so I think people are talking about it because of that.
Okay.
Um,
That's the Spielberg or
that's the
okay.
Spielberg, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And 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 also just I think that talking about aliens and other things happening is just evergreen. Like there's always something coming up in the news or whatnot that makes you think of that.
Yes.
Or events happening with space. So it's always on our minds, or hearing about weird phenomena,
Yes.
or yeah. So I think that is one of the reasons that it is evergreen. And I too was watching it thinking, wow, these effects, some of the effects, not all of them, but some of them hold up so well. Especially with the host episode, all still looks great. All looks great.
It does. And I was wondering if at the time it was spectacular, but now it would feel hokey, or if at the time it felt a little cheesy, because a few of the things I've watched, even at the time, I've thought, oh, these special effects. Like, I remember the 90s. I would have rolled my eyes at this, but not this. But I think they use them so sparingly. This
Yeah.
show is about the mystery, not about the gore or the monster, like getting close-ups of the monsters doing things.
Yes.
It's often you don't really even see the monsters, or you only see them very quickly. They did some effects with just still shots of like a body decomposing. And that, because they're only using special effects sparingly, they look great and they fly. But if it were wall to wall special effects that looked like that, I think I would have gone, oh, come on.
Yeah, and it's so much about the relationships. I think that is the core, as opposed to the monsters being the theme. It's about the relationships and how their relationship is affected, their relationship with the FBI is affected through each episode, with all the other people involved in their lives. And this is just like a small piece of that.
Right.
With each episode too.
Well, I am ready to move on to the next episode unless I'm missing something major.
No, I think we're touching on, again, people reference the Tombs episode. I thought it was a good one to like start getting you into the monster of the week, because it is human, but even Scully talks about these aspects of him that seem like a elevated human, I guess I would say. So I wanted to kind of ease you into it with that episode, because then we get into Flukeman.
Well, before we get into the next episode, I do want to let everybody know that Make Me a Nerd is a production of True Story FM, engineering by, in my humble opinion, an elevated human, Pete Wright. My theme song is Wonderstruck by Jane and the Boy. You can get me on Instagram at Mandy_Kaplan_Clavens, both with K's, or on TikTok at Mandy Miscast. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts if that's where you're listening. 5 stars. Write me something. Make a suggestion for something you want me to cover next. I am grateful for all of the community and reach out, and it does help other people find the podcast. And lastly, if you're feeling really supportive, I would be so grateful if you would go to makemeanerd.com/join. Hitting that button will get you your episodes ad-free and early, and my eternal gratitude. All right, let's take a break, and we'll come back with the next episode. The Host, Season 2, Episode 2. Mulder pursues a humanoid parasitic organism that uses the sewage system as its home. Why this one?
This is one of the most iconic episodes in terms of monster of the week, if not the most iconic, with the Flukeman, as he became known as. Incredible special effects. I also did picked two back to back that have to do with the sewer system. I realized when I rewatched, I was like, oh yeah, we in the sewer, we hanging in the sewer.
Yep.
And the idea of this based on the lore of the crocodile in the sewer, like they even reference that within the episode, which is kind of where this, I think, germinated from.
Mm-hmm.
Is beloved. I remember seeing this for the first time and it scared the shit out of me. And because that Flukeman makeup is like none other.
Yes. a lot of this, before they figure out what's really happening, it's people are getting infected, and it just makes me want a tapeworm. I always want a tapeworm. Like, if anybody's selling them, please reach out on Apple Podcasts and get me a tapeworm. That's what it starts off as feeling like. And now I know Scully went to med school. I get it. Is she a doctor? Or did she just go to med school and not finish? I think she's a doctor, right?
Yes.
Okay. But she's a doctor who not only does autopsies, but knows everything. This is
She's a genius.
bit of an eye roll to me. Like, as long as it has to do with the human body, she's like, I know all about this. Let me explain it. And they're like, even the best doctors would have to, let me look it up. Let me call a colleague and figure this out, right? Not Scully.
No.
She knows it all.
She knows it all. That's right.
Okay. Game, set, match, Kaplan on that one. And then this episode also features strange marks on people's backs. 2 out of the 3 episodes I had watched it up to this point had strange marks on people's backs.
Yes.
Is that a little fetish for you, Chelsea? Should we sidebar on that?
If it's the Flukeman.
Well, the Flukeman is the monster, and I got Shape of Water vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Because you feel bad. He can't
Mhm.
help who he is and what his nature is.
Yes.
And I was rooting for him in a weird way.
And they reveal that he was made, that he was like like they connect it to sort of these he's part human. There was radiation is mentioned, that he was kind of like created because of all of these elements that had happened. And yeah, he's just trying to live his life.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to, that's it. But they're trying to like figure out, no, we gotta get to also we need to hide that this was created, because of course they connect it to the Russian tanker ship from the beginning.
Right.
They finally put all the pieces together. Also 2 episodes back to back that have to do with the liver. The liver, like needing the liver, which the Flukeman, they talk about him, the liver regenerating. I realized, I was like, wow, I was really clearly had a theme through some of these episodes. But in terms of, I wanted to pick an iconic monster for you, and it is him. But like when we revisit things, maybe the monster is, like you said, the one that maybe we should be a little more sympathetic towards.
Yep. Yeah, it definitely gave me those vibes. He was like Sloth from the Goonies, which I did an episode on with Chrissy Lenz, if anybody wants to go listen to it. Well, in this episode, it was not my favorite because Scully was behind a desk. And then I thought, is she pregnant? And I think I was onto something, right?
Yes.
So Gillian Anderson, pregnant, they solve it rather than having Agent Scully with a bag of groceries, like which so many shows do. They just stick her at the desk calling Mulder all the time. And it's a bummer.
Yeah. I was trying to remember which episodes or which seasons. I was thinking it was either this one. Yeah, it must have been this one when I was rewatching. And I thought, oh, is this when she was pregnant because of the way she's shot? You're so right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a tiny complaint I had, because I love the 2 of them rolling their eyes at each other out in the field, and so.
But you feel it. You feel that absence.
Right. And having them separated. Now, I want to ask some BTS. Didn't they not get along? Am I remembering that correctly?
I think that did happen at some point, in terms of like, I've sort of forgotten all the tea between them. But I want to say that like when that all got kind of resolved, I want to say when the new season happened by like 2016, like also I think whatever was going on did get resolved later on, but definitely when they came back, like now it's a whole different conversation when they talk about the X-Files.
Mm-hmm.
And I do vaguely remember that. I didn't do a deep dive into that, but that is ringing familiar to me.
Yeah, I don't know why. I heard like, oh, they really, in real life, they don't like each other. They don't get along at all. But maybe that was,
Now that's not the case.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Because they have such great chemistry
It's so
and
good.
seemingly they are so equal. You
Yeah.
know, Scully is such a badass and so is Mulder, but he's even a little more wimpy than she is at times. And I really liked everything about them. And then as I was watching, I thought, wait a minute, I think they didn't get along. So uh the end of this episode, it's all because of Chernobyl.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, this shit is high-minded. I mean, like,
Yeah.
that's fancy. And good for them for weaving in, you know, real, like the icy were, you could say, based on a real thing, although there was
Yeah.
no Flukeman as far as.
Taking it one step further.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. Which I also, I like historical fiction because I like not knowing what's real and what's, you know, so I
Yeah,
guess this could be seen as something like that to weave in
totally.
Chernobyl.
Yeah. It's great.
Okay. Clyde Bruckman's final response. Season 3, episode 4, top rated on IMDb. You have good taste, Chelsea. A grumpy old man with psychic powers that show him how someone will die assists the agents with the hunt for a crazed killer who targets psychics. He also cryptically reveals to Mulder and Scully their own ultimate fates.
Peter Boyle. It's also Final Repose is the name of it's Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose.
Oops.
Is the episode title.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you try to type it in, it wants to autocorrect you to response.
Okay, so that is clearly what
I noticed that
happened.
when because I started writing it down, I was like, wait, I too did the same thing. And I
Pete,
thought,
if you could edit
shit.
this so it makes it sound like Chelsea embarrassed herself and I corrected her, that would be great. Thanks.
No, I literally, when I was writing it out for my notes, I wrote that and I was like, oh wait, that's not right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course, Peter Boyle.
Yes. So
Yes.
the cold open was freaking phenomenal. It's a psychic in her psychic shop with her crystal ball, and the guy is like, why do I see myself doing crazy things that I don't want to do? And then he brutally murders her with her own crystal ball, but we don't see it, the murder, which I appreciate. It's all in the imagination. But again, these cold opens get you like, what's gonna happen?
Yes.
And they bring in a cheesy psychic to the crime scene.
Yeah.
Whose eyebrows deserve their own Emmy. Yappy, was that his name?
Yappy. Stupendous Yappy.
His eyebrows were incredible. Maybe they were the little worms from the last episode we watched, like in furry worms. Talk to me about Peter Boyle, because this was probably around the time he was doing Everybody Loves Raymond, right? And he had his renaissance, and he's such a well-respected actor. He was wonderful. In general, I find the acting to be across the board perfect. Were big named talent trying to get on X-Files at the time? Was it?
So I think like as you go through the whole series, you will see so many people that either were in a lot of TV shows at that time or became more famous later on. So obviously, yes, it was, like same thing with sort of Star Trek, because Next Gen has a ton of celebrities on that too. So I think people wanted their chance to be on the X-Files, and then you see them in stuff later on, which is so cool to me. Also, they call him a puppet in this. Stu Charno, I need to give a shout out to, because he's in Christine and he's in Friday the 13th Part 2, and he was also, I think, a writer on Star Trek Next Generation. So he plays the killer.
The killer.
In this.
He was great.
So he's great, and yeah. So, and Peter Boyle, so his character very sweet, even though we're talking about like a dark subject matter. I thought this is where we're getting into sort of sweeter territory.
I thought it was strange casting, honestly. Peter Boyle is known for being gruff and macho and yeah, this guy was really sensitive and had a lot of heart. And it just I was thrown by the casting. Not that I didn't like it, but I was like, who in the casting room thought, who we might want to go after for this? It's an odd choice.
That's a great question. That's like who, like, I don't know who's like, is somebody clearly was like a fan or that's a great question. I'd love to know how that came. I'm sure the internet would tell us, but how that casting came about. Cause like you said, it's different than what you'd expect. And he is so sweet in it. And of course the ending to this one is like really heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I don't know if I want to give that away, but
I mean, I think my rule with Make Me a Nerd is like, if it's not a new release, I mean, people have had their time to watch X-Files, so it's okay to talk about the ending of these episodes. If anybody is out there and they haven't seen it, even knowing the end, they should go watch it.
Yeah. And I also, like I said, I wanted to, even though we're doing so many Monsters of the Week, this is about the supernaturalness to it is they are psychic, but Peter Boyle's character, Clyde, he has some abilities, but can mainly see people's deaths and how they're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this one, and Mondays talk about fate and destiny and free will. And again, I didn't realize I was bookending episodes with the similar themes when I first picked these, but I love that concept. And is your future written? Is it not written? I just love, like you were saying, we're getting sort of into some heady existential territory with this episode. And that ending of it's a burden to have these abilities. And when he tells Scully, I see us
on a
bed together on a bed, and you're crying, but it's tears of compassion, and it's because he's ended his life. And that is how the episode ends. And they catch the killer. But she, and she's a skeptic throughout it, but then she sees these, I love that in later seasons that turns, and she comes from skeptic to starting to be the believer.
Well, how could she not? Right? I mean, every week something is proven to her that is otherworldly. Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to, I just find this episode to be so sweet. And I love, even though it's dark too.
Very
don't get
dark.
Me wrong.
But there's also a lot of levity and humor in this one, as with all of them. But this one needed it because it was like not dark in like, ooh, creepy monster in the sewers. It was dark like the worst of humanity sometimes, and just it pulled on the heartstrings.
Yeah,
in great ways.
It's a beautiful episode.
Okay, so you mentioned Monday. Full disclosure, I didn't get to that one. Drive was the last one I watched.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So one of the ones I had mentioned, and I was trying to pick one a season, or I know I skipped a couple seasons, but yeah, Mondays, if you get a chance, that's sort of the Groundhog's Day episode.
Oh, okay.
Where they're living in a time loop, and also talks about, like I said, fate. And my partner's mentor is the lead woman in that.
Oh, shoot.
And I just highly recommend watching that, because it is another has a very sad ending to it, but oddly beautiful ending. So that's like a little, if you want a little after dessert beverage, that would be it.
Oh, okay, I blew
continuing.
It. Okay. We're going to move on to our next episode after this. So this one is Home, Season 4, Episode 2. The remains of a murdered, deformed infant lead the agents to a family of murderous, inbred, animal-like brothers living on a secluded farm in a remote section of Pennsylvania. Also top rated. This one was fucked up, y'all. The Peacock family. I don't know if you did it on purpose, that it's the same actress.
Oh, yeah.
The fortune teller is Mrs. Peacock. It is. Oh, my God. She's rangy.
Woo. She's incredible.
Oh, so
Karen Conoval is amazing as an actor. Like, love everything she does.
Oh, she was great. here's something I wrote, and I'm not sure what it means. She says,
Mhm.
no probable cause. Oh, they don't have probable cause to go into the house. But then everything is covered in blood. There's matching footprints in blood in the yard, in the house. There's a shovel. I was like, it just, I don't know. That was an eye roll for me, right?
Yes, I
We don't have
I it's
probable
so
cause.
funny.
It's like, well, you're staring at bloody footprints and
I clocked the same
did
thing.
you?
I literally clocked that same thing. I was like, "That's odd for her to say." And then, of course, they do the flashlight, and there's a table with scissors and blood all over it.
Yes.
I said, "Okay, that's like a policey thing of someone, your audience saying, oh, they can't just go into that house. They need probable cause.' Like, they do that on Law& and Order too, and I feel like it's just to acknowledge that they're completely going against that.
Mhm.
Like, who cares?"
Yeah. That was one of my only eye rolls in all the 5 or 6 episodes I watched, but it really
Yeah.
felt a little too convenient. Uh, the only violence that really bothered me, because I am, very uncomfortable watching realistic
Mhm.
violence, these brothers beat the sheriff
Oh,
of the
yeah.
town, and his poor wife is under the bed watching him get beaten to death, and I wondered that felt like such a shift for me.
Mhm.
Every episode we had watched, the monster lunges and then it cuts out, right? So we
Mhm.
know that person's gonna die. This, they embraced the violence. Is that
Mhm.
something that I just didn't happen to see before, or in later episodes, did they get more violent, or what are your thoughts?
I think yeah, I think it's playing with so we're in season 4 with this one. Um, episode 2, which it's always like the second episodes of all the seasons are always like such bangers, but, um, I think they're also because they're not it's wild of what they show you with versus because you see his face and then you see the blood pooling towards the wife, but they're not physically showing the hits hitting, but I think they are pushing the because this episode is also written by Glenn Morgan and James Wong, who are known for their crazy gore effects in their films that they do.
Okay.
So I definitely think they're trying to push the envelope and see what they can get away with on Fox, because Fox also becomes the home of the show Hannibal, which is incredibly graphic
Okay.
too. So I think we're like in the territory. This is 1996. We're trying to see what can we get away with within the episode. I even thought the little hand coming out of the grave of the infant was also pretty kind of shocking.
Yeah.
And then they show the
The
infant
infant
like
with its deformity
it's
and
brief,
yeah.
but they show it. Don't know if they would have in earlier seasons, but I definitely think they're always trying to like push the envelope here and there. They can't do it
Sure.
probably with every episode, but they're probably like, okay, let's really. I mean, this is Home is known to be one of the most
Yeah.
scariest, craziest episodes of all X-Files. So this is a very known one that people reference all the time of like, what is the most disturbing,
Disturbing is a great
effed up
word.
one?
And yeah, it's intense, and it's another moment where Scully looks at this deformed baby, and she knows exactly what's wrong with it, and I'm like, "Really?
Mhm.
You're also a neonatal expert? Like, come on, Scully." Um, but these brothers have their mom, Mrs.
Mhm.
Peacock, who has no arms and legs, and they keep her under the house?
Under the bed.
Under the bed,
Mhm.
and she doesn't wanna leave.
Mhm.
You know, we see her under there, all of these most of the act outs, you just see these eyes under the floorboards, and it's like, "What's happening under there? Who is that? What's going on?" And then we finally see her, and we, as an audience, are so happy when the agents are in the house saying, "Mrs. Peacock, we're here. We're here to save you. We'll make you safe." And they roll her out, and she's so disturbing. What's her name? Karen Carnival?
Canoval.
Karen
Kaonoval.
Oh,
VAL. Yeah.
oh, Karen Konoval. She is, I mean, chills and repulsion and yet you feel for her and you're upset for her and you care about her. Um, this one felt like a movie. It just was so
Mhm.
complete. The story was atmospheric and really stuck with me. Well chosen. you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
This is
I said it leans a lot more horror than the others.
Yeah. Yes, this one definitely is one of the most horror centered ones. Um, and this, yeah, the family, and it is family that is generational family of incest and trauma, and we keep to ourselves, and we like the way things are, and it's really, there's so much in it that is so disturbing.
Mhm.
um and it's revealed that the mother, she survived the car accident, which is why she is missing these limbs, and but is determined to make it. Ends on a very dark note of the brother taking her away in that Cadillac with the Johnny Mathis song playing, and we're gonna find, our family's gonna grow. And you're like, oh my god, what are these people gonna do?
Yeah, I didn't get that very end. Were they in the trunk together? Because
So yeah,
we're
this,
seeing
yeah.
the car. So the other
Mhm.
two brothers, agent, the Scully and Mulder kill the two
Mhm.
brothers. So
Yep.
third brother and mom get away. And we
Yes.
see the car and we hear the dialogue that they're having about like, we're going to
Mhm.
get away, we're going to start again or whatever. But
Mhm.
then he climbs out of the trunk
Mhm.
and goes and drives the car away,
Yeah.
implying that he was what, cuddled up in the trunk with her
Yes,
with
to talk to
the
her
lid closed?
with the lid closed, can't let anyone see mama, and gets out and decides to, I don't know, they're obviously like hinting towards they're going to kidnap someone or whatever to keep the lineage going. Um because clearly mama can't keep having these kids. Uh
Well,
but
the whole thing starts with her having the
yeah,
baby that
yeah,
is stillborn, or
yeah.
do they bury it alive?
Alive. It was alive, yeah.
Why? If they want to keep going, why did they bury it?
Well, I think it's
Too deformed?
because Scully had sort of said, "Oh, I can't believe it." Wasn't sure if it survived, but then she looked and saw the dirt had been inhaled, and she said, "Oh, this probably would not have lived very long," but was actually murdered. That's sort of why they were going
Right,
after these brothers too.
right.
Very dark. Very. This one is the sort of, yeah, the most horrific in terms of the horror themes of uh, almost all the episodes. I mean, there may be one other one I'm not thinking of, but this is the one everyone references.
Yeah. Well, you're not
So I had to pick.
asking, but it was my favorite of the ones I
Yeah.
watched. Yeah.
Great. Love that.
Because it was so out there. The truth is out there. And this one is out
Yeah.
there.
So out there. And the idea of like, they're playing that wonderful, wonderful Johnny Mathis songs. Like and they're in this old, like 50s, 60s Cadillac. Like we want to keep things as they
Yeah.
were, keep it as our family. We don't, the house they talk about, it was never upgraded. Want to keep things the way they are, because that's what we like, and heaven forbid we change, is like very like, oh god, like very disturbing.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad that you had some ambiguity about the ending too, because
Yeah,
okay, that makes me feel better.
for
Like
sure.
a little bit less of a dum-dum. We are up to our last episode that I watched, which is Drive, season 6, episode 2. A man tormented by a piercing sound that could make his head explode unless he heads west as fast as possible, takes Mulder hostage to drive for him, while Scully rushes to find the cause of this affliction that also killed the man's wife, which is how the episode starts. It's a high-speed chase, just like we in Los Angeles unfortunately see on TV all the time. And they put the spikes down, the car spins out, the husband gets out. The husband, uh, unknown actor, never did anything after this, Bryan Cranston. He's trying to communicate to the cops that he didn't kidnap her, that she's his wife. They put her in the car and they're like, "You're safe now. You're in the police car. You're safe. We're rescuing you." And her head explodes in the back seat. I mean, they don't fuck around, Chelsea. Like, this
No.
is high concept, but you're in it from the start.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote, I'm mad I read the log line
Oh,
because that cold open ended with a bang, which is a terrible
so
pun. Yeah.
literally.
And then as the plot develops and they realize they have to drive fast to prevent the head from exploding, that's where they acknowledge, oh, I think I've seen this movie. And I was so grateful for it because it really is
Yeah.
the plot of Speed.
Yes.
You know, they borrowed it, written by Vince Gilligan and starring Bryan Cranston. Do we know if this is where they met, where the magic started?
I believe this is the start. I'm trying to think when Malcolm in the Middle was happening. If this was before that. Yes, I think it was. This is 98. Ooh, was it?
I would think
have to see.
he was probably on Malcolm in the Middle when he did this. That's my guess, but I'm going to have my research
Oh, no.
department figure this out.
I'm wrong. Malcolm in the Middle started in 2000. It aired in 2000, so no one would have seen Malcolm in the Middle yet. So yeah, this I do think is where this first bond between the two of them came, which when you think about, this is 98. And then when did Breaking Bad happen? Like this long stretch. Yep. But Vince Gilligan also wrote Monday, the other one I referenced.
Gotcha.
Which again, the ending of, I don't want to get to the ending quite yet, but that beginning, let's talk about the cold open since you brought that up. I had forgotten the cold open of this one because it's been a very long time since I'd seen this particular episode, but I remembered loving it. And I gasped when you see the window, when she's banging her head against it, the wife, and then the blood. And then I remembered, oh yeah, this is like Scanners, the Cronenberg movie. But that moment, I just yelled out loud because I had forgotten. And then, of course, as I started to remember all the pieces when I was watching it. Oh, and he's like screaming for her. Like they pull him out of the car and he's screaming for her. And oh my God, it's so sad. This whole episode is like quite sad, to be honest.
Well, it's sad, but then Cranston, not
yes.
Crump, is his name Crump?
Crump, yeah.
He's an asshole.
He's an
asshole. He would be MAGA these days. And
he's an asshole.
You know, he's like, Mulder, you're Jewish, aren't you? And he's
so weird.
It's so weird because you want to just sympathize with this poor man who tried to save his wife and couldn't, and we know he's going to die. And you want to sympathize, but they don't go that way. They make it really complex. And Mulder feels torn. Do I want to drive and save this guy? This guy's pretty awful.
Yeah.
So I think that's a braver, bolder, more interesting choice.
Totally. And they go to his house where he and his wife lived, and the dog. And at this point, oh no, you can't, whatever is happening, they have to keep moving. And so when they stop, what's going to happen with the dog. So I have to warn everybody, there is like dog trauma in this one. And I guess this one does this one goes into like government conspiracy territory. But I think I don't want to, let me think of like the order of events to talk about within this episode. So, he ends up kidnapping Mulder because he just happens to be following him. He like goes to a hospital and kidnaps him, makes him, carjacks him to steal that, makes him drive for him. And we learn we start to learn all these things about him. And I totally agree. They make him a very difficult character to get on board with. But Mulder, how he is at the very end of the episode, like what he has just seen is like, he's very affected by, thinking about that last scene where he's standing and just looking
over the water,
because they just didn't make it in time.
It's they just don't shy away. And I really like that. I admire that. And in this episode, the premise that he has a deafening sound in his head and it gets better when the car goes fast west. They could have exposed us to that sound. And I think lesser filmmakers might have. Like, it'll really freak the audience out if they could hear the screeching the whole time. And we never heard the sound. And I was so grateful for that. And implying it let us imagine what was going on in his head. And you have a fine actor like Bryan Cranston. So it was, I think, I'm wondering if the network just had to be hands off at this point because X-Files was what it was and it was doing well and making them money, because I feel like network execs would jump in and go, well, we never hear the sound. We got to hear the sound. You can't kill them at the end, right? And
Yeah.
sorry, network execs, but you all sound like that to me. They strip things of their imagination or their edginess or brave storytelling, and they want to dumb it down for middle America. But at this time, middle America had According to Jim, so they could watch that. And intelligent people could watch X-Files.
Yes.
And then just on a personal note, I have a weird soft spot before Roseanne went batshit crazy. I love the old Roseanne show very, very deeply. It was a big part of my childhood and influential on me as a writer. I love that show. Dan Connor's best friend was named Chuck, and he plays the boss on X-Files. And I saw him, and so now it's years later that he was on X-Files. But I was like, that's Chuck. That's Dan Connor's best friend. And I was so happy that this guy's working and doing something very different from playing poker and drinking beer with Dan Connor around the kitchen table. So good on you, Chuck. I didn't even write down your name because that's how much of a fan I am. But
go Chuck.
Yes. Oh my God, we did it.
We did it. Yeah, I just love this show. Obviously, it has a huge fan base. It was and being able to watch this, revisit these episodes, of course, made me so nostalgic, but it was also nice to see it all still holding up. And it's a comfort show. You want to put it on when you're sick or when you're trying to go to sleep and you need Mulder and Scully to come in and read you a bedtime story
to it. So it's not a great folding laundry show.
Oh no, if you've never seen it.
Yeah, I had to sit and focus on this and only this. Chelsea, tell everyone where they can find your movies and your podcast. Plug away, my new friend.
My God. There's so many things. For the socials, I'm only on Instagram at Chelsea Stardust. I am very active on there. I post all the movies I'm watching. I do not do Letterboxd. I'm too tempted to see what people will say about my work, so I choose to not be on that platform. But you can find me there. And True Story FM, you can find Sitting in the Dark, which I love being a part of that podcast.
That's a horror podcast.
On that. Yes, watching horror movies, talking about horror movies. We talk about 3 movies per episode. It all has a theme. It's wonderful. Highly recommend. My movies, my first movie, All That We Destroy, you can find on Hulu. My second movie, Satanic Panic, is on VOD wherever you rent movies. And my latest feature, Grind, that I produced and co-directed, which just premiered at South by Southwest, is doing a huge festival run. Maybe it'll play in your city. And hopefully we'll get some distribution after we do this festival run. It is a horror anthology about the gig economy. And so very timely. And that's, I also have a book club called the Losers Book Club, where we read horror books. And we're on Instagram as well, Losers Book Club LA. That's all the things. And I loved being asked to be on this podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Honored to be asked. And I love talking about the X-Files. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, because I have not had the chance.
Right? I mean, who wants to sit for over an hour and really nerd out about something like this? Like, that's the joy of this. So thank you for saying yes. Thank you for being passionate and nerdy and brilliant. Until next time, thank you all for listening.
Thank you.